Welcome back, you guys. We're just going to jump right back into this video here. But before I get into anything, I wanted to kind of go over a couple things real quick. In the first video there, I got something in my eye. It's bugging the crap out of me. The place I bought these plans, there was a couple things wrong with them. A couple of the files, if you notice the top plate of my where the motor mounts to the top for the Z axis, it was off. Some of this gantry stuff was off. Couple things. There was missing files in the thing, but I reached out to the guy a few times. I never heard nothing from him. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, you guys. $60 for a set of plans is not very expensive for something like this, but it ain't also good and cheap either. I know me, I'm working hard for $60. It's just what it is. But that's beside the point. If you're not going to get back with the person, maybe pull them off the market and don't sell them anymore. But there's another guy I found. I'll post it up in the video. Seemed like a good kid. He went through the same stuff with him. He reached out to him, didn't get nothing. He repaired all the files and posted them on his site. You could go get all that stuff from his site. And guys, just to make it real clear, you heard me in the first video. I'm all for you guys going and paying this guy for the plans. If I made them, I'd love for people to come get them for me. But I'm not going to leave you hanging if something's wrong. You get what I'm saying? Why would you do that? To me, it's just telling me you're in it for the marketing part of it, and that's the end of it. You know, you don't care what's going on with it. And if I'm wrong, prove me. If you watch this video, guy, and that guy seems like a good guy. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I really did. And that's what I was fighting and struggling with in the first video to talk to you guys about. I didn't know how to say. I didn't know what to say because I don't want to be mean to nobody. You know what I mean? But then again, I feel like that's being mean to me and other people that are buying this stuff, and it's not getting back. No, the people's not getting back to you. What's the point? I don't know. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm going to post the boy's site up there that went through it and refixed these plans, and you could go there and check him out. Good kid. You could watch his stuff too and see what he all went through. Same stuff, and nobody got back with him. If you go to the guy's site, you could see several people in the comments saying, "Man, this guy don't get back to you. I got some problems, blah, blah, blah." Nobody, not one person. But if you go and look at some of the things, he's hearting a few of the comments, so he's reading them. Why won't you get back to us, guy? I mean, this is not cool, I'm just saying, I don't know. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and get in this video, guys. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and it is what it is now. We've fixed our stuff and made it right, and it is working now. So, all right, let's get into this. All right, let's go around and see what I've done. Hang on one second. Okay. We've got all the gear racks on. On here, I had to put a 1/2-inch square solid bar to bring it down a little bit because I used the 1.0 mod. Like I told you guys before, the 1.5 mod is twice the money, and you couldn't get it for a long time. So this was available. I used the square mod, the square stock, and I welded it to that, and then I welded the square stock to the chassis, and then I just clamped it all like this with the clamp, and went down and made sure it was all even. But if you look, I don't have it tight right now, but hang on. So here's the gear. If you bring it up, you guys can see that. Now the only thing different here, what I got to do here is this. Hold on. This is the original thing in his plans. This tab here and the tab that's on the other one that I used there. Now that's against the rail right there. Okay. You kind of need a little more space in between there for some adjustment and stuff, tightening and stuff. So I think I'm going to cut that one off and bring one out from here like a C channel or a reverse C channel or something. I'm going to put a new one in there. I may even come off. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I'm going to cut that one off and bring it up a little higher so I got some adjustment on both sides. And let's see here. Let's go on this side. I got all these on. They look real cool. Now, let me show you this. When we was putting them on the first time, I had them on the outside edge and I forgot about the gear rack. So I had to cut them back out. That was a pain in the butt. But now they're offset to the back. This one here, I put 4 holes in the back of it, bigger than the, so I can get through and put my bolts in my, that's also, we put the limit switches on. I've done that on both sides. And here's my drag chain set up. Now I made some brackets, some pretty cool looking brackets there. These I cut and slit, and I curved them down on the ends. I just think it looks better, and I welded it all up and cleaned it. That looks a lot nicer. And then there's the centers and all of them. I wanted, and this thing, man, I'll tell you, you can stand on this thing. I mean, it is just so solid. Not that it needs to be for the wire, but okay, that's on there. The limit switches are on there. I don't know if I showed you guys my stops I made. I put my stops on there. I made these. It's got a wall on the inside too here. And then all this is set up with the limit switch. The gear rack is on there. We still got to make a little tab or two for the drag chain. Now on these corner gussets here, I still got to put those in. I'm going to put them in the back too. I don't know if they're going to be the same measurement this way. They will be 13. They're 13 by 13. The ones on that we got on there, those and all the other ones. This one I'll probably do the 13 this way, so it matches the look of the front one, and then whatever I got to this bracket here, this here. So we'll see what that turns out. But I still have to put those on here too, and I'll have to put the 4 holes in the back of this one to get to the bolts for that. So next I'm going to probably make those and set up my panel, my electrical panel area. I got to frame it in where it's going to mount. And I'll probably set up the drag chain stuff on this, on the y-axis, and then it's moving along. It's slow, you guys. Hang on. Okay, you guys. Just so you know, this is like 2 or 3 days later since the last time I showed you when I was putting these on. So So let me just. I know I'm not showing all this stuff on the video, but like I said, when I take it apart and paint it and we put it back together, I'll let you watch all that so you guys can see it all. But the making of all this stuff, that's going to be hard to do right now, you guys. I've said it and said it. With not having the time in the day, it just ain't going to happen. It's the same thing as if I were to do it on what do you call that? The speed time warp thing. You're not going to see it anyways. That's just going to go real quick, and you're going to be like, "What did you just do there?" And so what's the difference? I've seen 1,000 videos on other people's channels that they do that. They speed through they time warp all the work, and then they'll stop and then show you like I'm doing right now. So it's really no different. So, but what I want to do in the future is, when I'm doing this full time, is to literally show, parts of what I'm doing. Maybe not the whole thing, but we can do parts of it so you kind of understand how I went about doing it. At least that. This is just kind of like show and tell, in a sense, but anyways, that day hopefully comes. So like I said, I'm going to get this stuff made. I got the corner gussets. These I just got to make sure they're going to measure in right. If not, I'm going to have to make the top part in a little more or less and rechange that, and then I can go ahead and put those in real quick. That's going to probably be the fastest thing I can do, and then I'll probably make my electrical panel frame where it mounts, and then I'll do that drag chain, because after that's done, you guys, the only thing I got to do is make my floating head thing on the front of the Z-axis, and yeah, we can start wiring from there. We can start running wires, because I want to make this operational before I want to make sure everything's fine. I want to make sure all this gear rack's going to work good, which I don't see why not. We're going to be setting all of our steps up and things like that in the software, and how fast, and it's going to know, calculate by when I put in the input numbers, so it should be fine. But I'll tell you what, if you watch them other videos with the bigger gear racks, and when they push them, the sound of their it's like click 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 click. It sounds like one of those what do you call them, chain things on a bobcat. It's like clank 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 clank. This is actually pretty smooth. I don't know. Maybe this is a better thing. Maybe it's not. We'll find out when we get to that part. But it is smooth and quiet when I run that gear across that rack. It's just like you can't even hear it. So hopefully that's a plus. All right. So let me get this stuff to where I'm. I can come back and show you guys that part, and then I don't know when I'm going to be ending this video here soon. so I can get it out. And, what we'll do in the next one is we'll wire it and get it all running, and we'll see how long that video goes. And then the last one will be painting it and putting it together. It's probably how I'll do it, just so there's not, you know, so they just don't upload. I'm telling you, it took me like, I don't even know, I put it on there at like 10 in the morning, and I come back at 3 and it was still at 80% when I had that. The last video I did on the Mustang, I think it was an hour and almost hour and a half long in 4K, and wow. And I got a 1 gig speed internet here, so it's not that. So, all right, I'll be back here as soon as this is done. All right, you guys, I'm gonna show you this little mount I made here for the electric panel. Pretty cool, man, I'm loving it. So I just cut that out on the plasma cutter on my old table, on my table I still have now, my Langmeyer, and then I took some angle and framed it out, drilled the 4 corners where the box goes, and I'll show you in a minute. And that's it. I just angle cut it, made a square, and welded it to the back side of it. Let me show you that. I got all this on. I got the corner gussets in there. I don't know if I showed you guys this stuff. I think I did. And I got that one in. But here, let me show you this. That's it. Really just, I welded it to the back, and then I tacked it onto the surrounding, to the frame, to the chassis. Pretty cool. I'm really loving that. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna set that box in there, hang on. Yeah, basically it came with 4 holes in the back. This is from Viva also, but I got this through Amazon, and it's super nice, man. I mean, this thing is like a nice box. Got a nice lock on it, really nice. Plenty of room, and it just sits in like that. Really sharp. I really like that a lot. I just didn't want to do the basic stuff with the little, you know, square little bar there where it sits on there. I wanted something pretty nice, you know what I mean? So, and then once that's bolted in there, we'll have nice access to all that. The panel's still accessible here, which I'm gonna put the weatherproof certs on there and run our cables through. We'll see. I'm probably gonna print out a bunch of stuff on my 3D printer for the wires. Actually, the one that goes from this motor to that side and the limit switch on this side, I'm probably going to weld a tube on the back side of this up here, and we could run it through that tube and then back out. Well, the tube will stop here somewhere. We'll try to keep it where it's hidden, and then the wire will come down and go on the panel. So, and I'll probably make, we'll see how I'm going to do all that, but I want to make it all nice and clean where there's nothing showing nowhere, you know what I mean, and it's all going in pretty cool. But I really like that. That turned out super sharp. Just so it's not plain, you know what I mean? But I wanted to show you guys that real quick. I'm gonna mount that just so it's mounted, because this is already tacked in place now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make the drag chain for the Y-axis. And then I can't remember what else I have to do. And then we can, other than me having to, I gotta make a floating head mount for the torch. But other than that, I think we're gonna be ready to start wiring. We'll clean everything and blow it all off and clean it. Like I said, I need to run that tube behind here to run the wire in, but I'll bring you back as I'm doing the Y-axis thing. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this real quick, and then I'll bring you guys back here in a little bit. Okay, you guys, there's been a lot done here. Let me take you around this bad boy. So starting with the corner gussets that I made, they're in every corner now. There's our drag chain set up. I'm just going to show you everything that's done. This is the new wire that's got to go in there. The wire that I ran through this thing is not shielded. The new stuff is. But this is for my laser lights. I'll show you in a minute. I didn't want to run it through because I got to pull it all out anyways. But we're going to be taking it all back apart anyways to paint it. So here's my little box. It's got the torch height controller in it, my laser lights, and the on-off power. There's a cool little computer stand that I made. Pretty cool. Here's my setup that holds the torch cable. I 3D printed all those things, and I got little spider web gussets just there for pretty much design and to run a zip tie through. These are all zip tied, and the hose, the line hose, whatever you want to call it, runs through them. Let me take you around the back here. Sorry guys, I'm sniffling. I think I'm getting sick. You guys seen the panel? I added a fan in it. It's all wired and finished. I haven't started this thing or tried nothing yet. I'll show you. We're gonna put the water in it. We're gonna do it together. I'm nervous. Got my plasma cutter in there. Got all the lines and cables drilled and tapped with the wire tie eyelets on it. Here's the rest of the stand. So I had to C-notch it because of when my gantry goes back, I wanted to clear it. So it worked out pretty cool. And I machined a little, you'll see it when we take it apart to paint it, but there's like a little stud in there, or like a little, I don't know what you want to call it. It's got a C-clip on the bottom of it, right down in here. That holds it all in there. It's a little C-clip I machined into it. But you'll see it. Sorry. But you'll see it when we get done. I welded it to the square tube, which I'm going to clean all that up a little bit. Yeah, there's the computer stand. And it swivels around. You can put it wherever you want. It's down on it. And I did kind of the same thing there. I machined a little block in there. A little round thing, welded with a round thing. That box that holds all that stuff in there, I 3D printed that. On the back of I took my plasma cutter apart, and I had to put in 2 new pins for my to fire the torch, and that's for my torch height control to pick up arc voltage. Now this is stuff I all just learned, you guys. There's so much to this that you have to read and look into to figure out how to do all this stuff. There is not one place to just go to and do this stuff. Now what I'm going to plan on doing is I'm either going to see what people think about if they want one of these built. We can work out a price, or if you're interested in building one for yourself, I can work out something with you guys where I'll give you some schematics and try to make it easier on you guys. This is all finished. Made a little guide rail there to hold the torch so it still moves. So it's not just, not pulling forward, on the line. I don't know what you call that, the line or the hose. It's got both in it. Here's my lasers. I'll show you in a minute. I 3D printed all that stuff, and it's pretty strong. I did it out of carbon fiber. I did the gussets, the slats. Got our drains in, just like we did the other table. If you're interested in how I did that, you can go back on my video where I made the table for the pan for that. My other cutter did it the same way. If you look underneath here, I put in 1 ball valve, 2 ball valves. So they're like kind of one here and one up in that corner. I'll show you here in a second. This thing turned out real sweet, you guys. I'm so happy with it. There's the other one, same way. Don't ask me what this is right here, right there. I'll just tell you. Underneath is the 1-inch square that we put there to brace for the pan, and I didn't realize, I just counted back eight slots to where I wanted to put this drain to match the other one, and when I drilled it, it was right beside that. So I had to stop and drill that, or weld that hole in. So no biggie. This thing works so good, you guys. I hope it all works good. But you see there's my switch from my floating head, and it's all super strong, man. I hope it all works good. Because if not, what I was going to do is take my file, the 2 pieces that I made here, and send it to a shop and have them CNC make me all this out of aluminum, which I might still. I don't know. We'll see how it works. If it works okay, I ain't going to mess with it. But it is strong. It works good. If you look real close, it says Midwest, and then Customs on this side. Pretty cool. Just raised letter. Just goofing around. Yeah. Let me put this back in the tripod. We'll fill this pan full of water. Make sure we ain't got no leaks. This, like I said, this is all for the first time. Give me a second and I'll go grab the first one. All right, I wanted to make sure both ball valves are closed. Yeah, so if you remember, I got holes every so often that go through this middle with slats to let the water back and forth. The end ones don't have it. And I cut those in 3 pieces, 3 pieces, 3 pieces, because I couldn't cut nothing that long. And that way I could print it out and everything be, you know, me have the capabilities of doing it here. I made up a little sign for the guy with the old car. I'll show you here on the computer screen, unless you already seen it when I just walked by it. I made it up for the guy with the gold car. He don't know I made it for him. I made it just for all that he does. He helps me out a lot, you guys. He really does. He's a super nice guy. But I made him a little sign for his garage. Pretty cool little sign. It says Ernie's Garage, and it's got like a little piston and some wrenches. All right, I gotta go fill this up probably 3 more times. Give me a few. I'm not gonna let you guys. And I only put 1 cup of the solution in it because I'm going to, our valves are filled. No leaks so far. I only put 1 cup of that stuff in there, guys, because I'm going to drain this back out and clean it up to paint it all. But I want to just test and make sure it all works. So hang on a second. All right, you guys, here's the sign I made for him. Pretty cool. Some wrenches with a piston rod, and then it's got Ernie's Garage in there. Right now I made just a little test piece. It's like 3.5 by 3.5 with some radiuses, sharp corners, some circles. And then I brought it over in Mach 3 and loaded it. Let's go ahead and zero the home the machine. Let me get you where you guys can see this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit home all. We'll get it to home. Yeah, like I said, all this stuff, there's settings. There's several places I went to, done a lot of research. If somebody's interested in doing this and you get going on it, I'd be happy to maybe as you're doing it, like, well, how did you do this? You know, maybe not all at once, but as you're building it throughout the process, I can help you, you know, with some of your questions and go that route with it, and then draw up some kind of a wiring diagram if you're interested in everything I've done here. But I think it's essential to have a torch height controller on here. This one came out of Bulgaria. It was kind of, I had to sit and think about what was going on there. I got it all wired up. It's pretty cut and dry on the wiring, but it doesn't show you how to wire the torch fire part. I thought it did it all. Well, it doesn't. Only thing it does is receives the arc voltage. Once I sat around and thought about it, thinking about how my other machine works, had I not had that one, guys, it would probably took me longer. The guy is responsive on the questions from where I got it at, but we would have probably been going back and forth on the, you know, the messages for a while. But anyways, I figured it out. I had to wire the torch fire through the way I wired up this whole table minus the torch height controller. Once I got that in my head on how the concept worked, it was a breeze. It was nothing. But anyways, I thought it worked all by itself. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and we'll get this over here a little bit. I'm going to bring let's get this zeroed in on this somewhere in here, and then we'll just cut out our test piece there, and then once we see if it's working okay, if we got to adjust some stuff, then we'll cut that sign out for Ernie. But I got this little wireless little keypad, and it works just like the one over here. I'll show you. So what we can do now is go like this. I can cut my lasers on. I can work this machine from anywhere around, you know, anywhere in here. So we'll get this thing down here. I got wire ties hitting over here and everything because of that. So you see how that laser is pretty cool. So we'll get it to about right. And I can slow this down by I can go into my program here and cut my jog rate down. So now it's at 25%. Now watch. It's slower. And I can even go slower than that. Let's go down to 10. Now we can barely move it and get it dialed in really good, right where we want it at. I can go down in increments of 5. So let's just go there. Let me zero this all in here. We're just testing it anyways. Okay, I'm gonna zero all my stuff out right here. Okay, so now, according to how this is my first time trying this, you guys. Let me cut these lasers off. Fingers crossed. Let's just try it, guys. I'm just gonna go for it. Oh boy, I'm nervous. Okay, I'm gonna hit cycle start. Let's see what happens. And I'm gonna keep my finger close to the stop just in case. Here we go. So now it's gonna go down and touch off. I gotta set my speed on that a little faster on my motor. I haven't done that yet. I think I can do it through the torch height controller. But now what it's gonna do is it's gonna bring that up and it's gonna click off. I'm glad it's going slow this time so I can explain it. It's gonna click off on that little switch there. Nope. I stopped it. Because what it done was it didn't raise back up after the click. So let me figure out what happened. I'll be right back and I'll explain to you what happened. All right, you guys. So what was going on was it's all about tuning and settings now. Well, there's a little piece I kept practicing on yesterday. So what I got figured out was when you're making your, well, let me back up. So I kind of took a picture of my settings on my Langmuir computer with how I was doing, all my settings were in that. Well, I tried to just put those in here and use those as a reference point other than where my torch touched off at and stuff like that, because I knew that would be different. Well, I was just wanting a starting point at best. I didn't think about it when all that was going on yesterday, because now it's the next day, how that was dragging, because I kept messing with the torch height controller, trying to raise the voltage. It says in the instructions if you raise it, raise the voltage, it brings the torch height up as it's cutting. Well, it will, but if your settings are still in your postscript file, it's still going to be incorrect. So I had to go back in there and mess with those. I went back through and retuned all my motors, because you got to retune all your steppers, because the machine don't know what size gear you have, what size track you have, and none of that until you go measuring. And what you do is you'll measure one point and you move it 10 inches, and after it moves you measure that distance and see if it's correct, and if not, you put in the value of what it did move so it can adjust to that. Well, I went through and did all that again, tightened up all my motors, my gears. I did have a little bit of slack in a little bit of play in my my gear wheel to my track, and it was, let me show you the thing. If you look here, it was causing weird circles and stuff, because my gantry was moving up and down, left and right. It wasn't making good circles. So let's see if we fix that. I got a starting point now on a pierce height and a cut height. Let's just go with that and see what it does. This is the first time I'm cutting with it today. I did a couple of dry runs without the torch on. Also, I probably am going to have to change this little setup here, because I had to bring the back plate down further. I can't think of what that's called. Anyways, I'll think of it. But I had to bring that back plate down further, but I ran out of room. I'm just the bottom of the torch is just in the bottom of this clamp, so it's not going to be good long term. So I'm going to have to make that a little bit different. Plus my spring in there that I used, it wasn't long enough. I stretched it to make it work right, and all the compressing and decompressing is changing things. And up here, I had to take my spring off because it was catching on that lip. This is a cool little concept because it keeps it from, pulling on my torch, but the spring was catching in the lip. So I'm going to have to rechange a few things here, but for now it's going to work, I think. Let's give it a shot here. I'm going to go ahead and cut it on. Circle looks better. It's not dragging no more. Yeah, it's all about tuning from here, guys. We'll see what we got on the bottom, what the bottom looks like. See, and also the torch height controller should take an effect too and adjust itself to where, the voltage is telling it. So let's see how all that worked out. Let me grab my screwdriver. Well, at least we ain't dragging no more. Yeah, I think our circles are looking. So now, I think what I got going on here is, hang on, let me let this cool in a second. We're still a little bit weird on the circles, guys, but that could be where my cut height problem is now. Here's where I got to adjust to let me clean this a little bit. Flag's cleaning right off, so we're good, like as far as probably the amperage goes and air pressure. I mean, it's cleaning just as good as it was on my other one. It's not like too far off. Okay, so it looks like their circles are much better, much better. I think now what I'm doing is, it's got might be my cut height. It's hard to tell. I probably need to put something thicker in. Yeah, I think my cut height may be too high. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to adjust that in Fusion 360 and change it, and drop my torch just a little bit. Let me see, is that got to go up higher or down lower? I'm trying to think here. let me change the settings real quick and I'll tell you what I've done so I can think about it for a second. But other than that, everything else looks good. I think it's looking pretty good. I just need to get the bevel's got like a little, yeah, let me think of that. I think the torch height's got to drop a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, something else I dropped it by, it was at 0.12, I put it at 0.10 is where I changed my cut height. I left the pierce height and all the other stuff alone. Something else I just thought about that I fought on that machine, and it just came to me. I don't know why I was just now thinking of it, but I bet you, let me go stand down here and look. Yeah, guys, I think my torch is in there like this. So I need to adjust that real quick. I think my torch is in there like this, at a little bit of a slant. So let me go grab a square and try to unloosen these and churn it just a little bit without moving too much, because I already got a nice little height there, so hope I don't mess with that. I don't think I will. I think what I'll do is I'll just unloosen this outer one and not the clamp part, and just see if I can't trim it just a hair. Give me a second. Let me grab some tools. Okay, I tweaked it just a hair. Let's see what it does. Like I said, I think I'm going to change all this around. I may even change the back plate and all of it, you know what I mean? I may end up just doing it myself. I just got to figure out what I'm going to use for my, you know, my floating head to work correctly, like with some, I might put them on some linear bearings, like the round ones, like on a 3D printer. I was just thinking about that. That way it's got a nice slide and everything's tight and precise. So let's cut this and see what it changed. I think my pierce delays and all that are okay. I mean, the metal's dropping right out, so it's cutting it good. You guys, I spoke with an engineer at the place that makes these torches, and he told me that he's an engineer and he wouldn't attempt to build one of these. He said, kudos to me and anybody that's doing it. He said, because of the, you know, this stuff we're doing right now, getting it tuned in, getting it correct. He said, it's just a lot of work. I agree to some certain extent with him, but I can't tell you the feeling of this thing working right now. Even I'm adjusting on it and everything's not right on the money yet. The feeling is unbelievable to just know that you build all this and it's working correctly so far, other than having some tuning issues here. Not an issue. You know what I'm saying. Hold on. Let me clean this. Yeah, this stuff's coming right off, guys. It's not like I'm far off on any of this. I think our big issue is now that head. I'm almost positive. I'll tell you why here in a second. Hang on. Okay, our circles are looking, I mean, look at the difference here. Look at this one, how oblongy and screwy it looks. Trying to get you guys some good shots here. It's weird with this camera. Now look at the new one. We're pretty close, you know what I mean? So I think what I just done, it helped it. It helped it from, here's our last one. Okay, we still have a bevel. Let me get this in the right orientation. No, it took it out of there. Okay, because there's a slight bevel here coming out, and back up here in this corner, it's going in. So it's telling me that the height thing that I just did I don't think that changed anything. I think me moving that torch changed it, because it was up here more before, now it's down in this corner. So I may have an issue this way too. You know what I mean? From front to back. All I did was just left to right. So I think my torch is sitting, the tip of it's sitting back. It's sitting like towards the back of the table. It's like this, slightly. And that's exactly what that looks like. And it's giving me a bevel going that way. It's shooting, so the arc's shooting at an angle this way. You get what I'm saying? It's not super bad. I mean, this is passable. You can take a little grinder and clean that and be done with it, you know, not if you didn't want to fool with all that, because the settings are super close. I mean, we're almost on the money with that stuff. It's not bad. I'm sure the torch height controller's doing its job and helping, you know what I mean? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and think for a minute what I can do to help this to make it better. Let's just say that, to make it better. Because I think what I can do is, as far as the mounts, I can make those on my 3D printer, just these outer little mounts. That's not going to hurt anything, especially if I print them solid, you know, all solid print. So it takes longer to print it, and a lot more filament, but it's like a solid block, which you want. And then I'll think about something on what to do with this back stuff. This will work, you guys. I really just need to think about this. I just need to maybe change how this slides up and down here. Change that whole design. Like put it on, because I can get these. Let me go see if I can find them. Hang on one sec. I cut that plasma cutter off so we can hear. Okay, so real quick, you guys, I wanted to say something real quick. So I don't know about you guys, but the challenge of something needing to be tweaked on and fixed on, and me figuring out how to do that is I love the challenge. So I hope for you guys out there that none of this stuff discourages you guys from maybe possibly doing this one day for yourselves. Like I told you a minute ago, the feeling is just unreal. You know what I mean? To know that you just did all this. And I'll tell you right now, you guys, I didn't know a thing about CAD CAM, these plasma machines, tables, none of that stuff, not even the inside of my plasma cutter, until I bought that Langmuir system. And so I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from videos on YouTube. That's why I think these videos are important for people everywhere. I mean, I've spoken with guys that are like them engineers I was just telling you about. They talk about watching videos and seeing different ways on how things are done. I think that it's like a free school, you know, and it's entertaining, you know, just so on, you know, it's just endless. So I just wanted to say that. I hope nothing discourages you guys on things that don't work, or you're trying to have to adjust them out like it should be easier. Well, nothing's easy in life, so we all know that. So, but anyhow, here's these bearings. Okay, so I think this is the only thing I could find. This is a sensor, but the rods are like that. They're like 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, whatever. This is probably, this is probably like 8, I think. Yeah, that's an 8 millimeter. Okay, so that's a little big, because then I would have to make these housings pretty big. So I'd probably find some of these that are 6 millimeter internal. And what that will do is it'll slide up and down super nice, you know, and I'll make a press fit, just a slight press fit on our housings for these to go up into. And then, you know, we could put a smaller spring in between, because it would shorten up, it would make it a less travel, and these would be inside moving super nice. Not that this don't move nice, it does move nice. See, it's already starting to stick because of that hose. So I have to think of something different here too. Maybe something, I don't know. Maybe we could put that in a bearing, I don't know. We'll have to think about that. Because I want that to have, I don't want this pulling on the torch, whether that's steel or not or anything, because you just got it, you know, it's kind of like tugging on it, you know what I mean? So I love the lasers. And that's another thing, I had to loosen that one up. This one's tight to get it to work correctly because of where the height of that was, to get my line right. Because if not, look what it does when you tighten it up. Look how big it is. It's like a real thick, it's as thick as that screwdriver. It's as thick as that screwdriver right there. So that means my distance, when I tightened it, brought it closer. So we want it to be like that. I might be able to, I'll play with that. I might be able to tighten it up correctly and then move it up in the housing. We'll see here in a second. But I want you guys to know about these. This is the point of this, what I'm telling you. So I think I'm going to redesign that this evening or today and get that printing. I'll see how fast I can't get stuff to come from Amazon. When I first started doing all this, I had all that stuff in my cart. It's only like $15 for all of it. I mean, you get like a pack of 5 or 6 of those rods I'm telling you about to go in the middle of that. You get like a whole bag of these, like 6 of these, I think, and a whole bag of the springs. In fact, I may have some 6 millimeter springs over there. 6 millimeter ID, inside dimension of the coil. So the outside would be probably 7 or 8, whatever it would be. And then I may have a few there. These in here, I think, are 6 millimeter OD, the ones I'm using here. And then I just got them up inside these housings and I printed the stopper like halfway, so it's where it stops is right there, and same inside this head. So the spring is just kind of doing its thing. But like I told you before, I had to stretch it because it wasn't long enough. So I didn't like that to begin with. Because I couldn't make this any shorter. I forget what the problem was. Maybe my slider, I don't know. So, but anyways, I'm gonna have to relook at all that, change a few things around, and I'd like to see, because this back plate can travel down another 1.5 inches. So that means I can mount this plate, my stuff here, up much higher bring my sensor up into here somewhere. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I didn't know when I made all that. And then I also want to make it with an adjustment where I can set my torch this way and left to right. So I want to think that out really good. I want to have some like set screws or something where I can precisely churn it as much as, you know, just by the churn, and make this tip super flat and what would you call that? I mean, just like pinpoint straight down, you know, left, right, back to front, all the way around. So we're not getting none of them bevels. And we can adjust it out of there, you know what I mean? On that one, I did it with machining the block. I kept on measuring from the bottom to the front of the torch, from, if you go back on my video and look, and from the back of the plate to the top mount. And it would change. It was different because this torch, if I took it out of there, you'd see that this part is skinnier than the part that screws down in here. So that means the hole in this bottom clamp is bigger than this top one. So I need to make them exactly center, even though there's the bigger hole there and the smaller one there. If I got them in the same spot, it's going to pull my torch back a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Or vice versa. So I have to make those parallel and perfect straight down, even though they're smaller and bigger holes. So hope I didn't just confuse the heck out of you guys. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and redo some thinking here. We got it. This is good success here. We got it cutting, everything's good. Got the motors tuned. We got our problem figured out from yesterday, why it was dragging. It was just me in the settings. I didn't realize that I was way off on that. That's what I'm saying, guys. It's nothing nobody can't figure out, you know. And with these videos, it's helpful. So for the next guy, you can go back and say, oh, he had that same problem. All he did was change his, you know, his numbers in his in Fusion 360 where he was doing his post-process script, and that's all I did was just kept coming down on the number until, well, at first I was way low, so I came way high yesterday, or when I finally figured it out, and I went too much, so I had to bring it back down again. And I just took when I was doing my dry runs, I cut the plasma cutter off and I'd hit start, let it take its course, and it's real simple. All you do is you hit start, let it start like fake cutting it without the torch on, and as soon as it gets to the part where it's getting ready to drop and make the pierce, pause the machine, take your feeler gauge like one of these, start measuring where the between the tip of the torch and the plate that you're cutting, what the thickness is, and then you just have to go back in and do some math, like whatever you had in there versus what the thickness is here. You know, get your correct number out of that. You know, you put in what it is minus what you had in there, and whatever the value is left with that, you change it to that. And that's all I done to get my heights where I want. Now you could, they say your cut height is supposed to be, or it might be the other way around. Your cut height versus your pierce height, it's supposed to be 1.5 to 2 times the amount. I think that's what it says. I have to. It's one way to the other. So once I got that figured out, and then I just changed my values. I think we got them pretty close. I think it's cutting as good as that is right now. I'll tell you that. This machine's already cutting as good as that one. So, and there's some adjustability here to make it even nicer. So our outer walls, if you could see this, I don't think you can. I can see, like on this edge, there's lines where the torch is cutting. So if I'm looking at it straight, my lines are churned just a little bit like that. They're not straight. They're not straight. They're at a very slight angle. So that's telling me my torch is cutting like that. It's cutting like this at an angle. And it also shows in our bevels and our circles. But we got all that fixed as far as where that was my fault. I had too much slop in my gears to my gear racks. I thought like a car, give it a little bit of, what do you call it, lash. Give it a little bit of lash, you know. So, but it's different on this. You want it to be just when it starts to get rid of that lash and it's tight, tighten everything up. And then I don't have nothing greased or anything yet. I don't want to put no grease on this until we paint it. So, but just for mock-up and getting started, we're in good shape, you guys. We're in great shape. So, all right, I'm gonna mess with that. You guys back when I got it all figured out. It may not be today because at this point we are. Oh, I wanted to show you something else. Hang on. Yesterday when I was showing you guys the table and everything I've done to it, I forgot to show you what I've done here. So, oh, I dropped that bearing. So I went ahead and made a new the ground clamp. So it's going all the way up with my torch one here. And then what I done was I welded a bolt to the bottom of the table and put an eyelet on it, just so I don't have to clamp it. Now, if this works for you guys, don't even worry about it. The thing with doing something like this is you don't want no paint here where all this is, and you don't want any paint on any of our slats or the inside of the table, because you want all this stuff to be grounded. You get what I'm saying? So I probably won't paint none of that stuff, just the outer part of the table, and then we'll tape up that bolt I just showed you, and our framing and stuff. So all the inside of the table will be unpainted, and the slats, which that one there we painted the inside of the table, but I grounded on our slats. So as you can see there, I grounded on the slats. So I just got rid of that, and I wanted it to be permanent. Because if I have to take this machine off, the way I got everything set up now is all I got to do is unscrew those two things off the front, unplug it, take my air line off the back, and the two ports that I made right there, the torch fire and the arc voltage. See, that old machine went off of this one. Sorry, it went off of this one, and I only used the top two pins, number 1 and 2. But what I done was I took the machine apart, I found the wires that are number 1 and 2 pin, and that's what I made that was the torch start. So I put a new port there, and then this one is the upper one here. It's the arc voltage. So that one was already in the machine, but the wires were running out of the back of the thing when I first did it, and it plugged into the little box that Langmeyer gave us. So what I done was made another port for that, and instead of using that blue one now, or the wires that were hanging out of the back, I went ahead, that's the old one, I went ahead and made one on this too. Now it's all just plug and play. If I wanted to bring the machine back here to use this, or show somebody how it works when I go to sell it, any of that. And I put the old torch from, that came with the Everlast on this now, and the old brackets. Yep. And that's how I cut my my upper bracket from that holds the torch cable up top, because I was wanting to cut that before I got this fired up, and I didn't have this working yet. So I went ahead and did all that, so now I can just take my machine back and forth if I had to. But this one's already cutting. I'm actually happy with my cuts right now on it. A little bit of cleaning with my grinder, and it would be very, very, I mean, like I said, it's cutting as good as my other one. So, okay, you guys, I'll bring you back as soon as I get something better going on here. It's the next day. All right, so I've redesigned a few things on these pieces here. As you can see, I raised the micro switch thing up a little higher. I raised the tunnels up a little higher. I think that was it on this one. And then I printed some shims, and they're like 10 to 20 thousandths. They go up from there, and they'll go on our bottom piece here, so we can adjust the torch back and forth, and left to right. There's a little bit of play in these here. Now on this, I threw the old one away in the house. I brought this base up inside here. I brought it up just a tiny bit. You can see a lip in there if you look close, just a tiny bit, because after I brought it up higher, it was hitting on the tunnels a little harder. So what I did was I clearanced out these slots a little more, and to make sure that's going to clear now on both areas. On this one, this used to have heat certs in it on the front side. I didn't like how they was going in there. I think that's called a hectagon or an octagon. I'm always confused about that. Slot for them, and a real tight press fit. And they're about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch long. So they go in there almost halfway. You can't really see them maybe you can see them in the hole in there. You can see in there. They go in about halfway. Let's go ahead and start putting it together. And I also put a new micro switch on. Not that the old one was bad, but when I first got this going, that day when we did it, the next morning I had the adjustments way off, and when the torch came down to touch off, it kept going, and it pushed up on this arm a little bit too far. I stopped it on the machine, but I don't know if it was too late or not. It still worked, because obviously we tried it yesterday and everything was fine, but I don't want to take a chance later on it going bad, so I just went ahead and when I bought them, it came like a bag of them. I think it was a bag of 8 or 10. It wasn't much. They're only like less than $10 for all of them. I think you guys can see that. Let me make sure. Yeah, so I went ahead and just put another one on it. I didn't want to risk it. So we'll try to get, I need to order more of that carbon fiber filament. That stuff is strong, I'll tell you. And like I said, even when that, sorry guys, the heater kicked on. When that did that with the torch and went down and did that, it didn't even break nothing. So, and it went down pretty good, pretty far past the point of where it shouldn't be going. I'll show you something else I've done here in a second, hang on. And when I tighten these guys, I'm tightening them, and it feels like I'm tightening against steel on the carbon fiber. It is strong. And I printed these with a 25% infill, in case you're wondering. I feel like that's plenty. In time will tell, but it's not. I mean, it feels so strong. These are so tight right now. I don't want to over tighten them. Let me double check these a little quick. Let's see, let's put our switch on. Actually, you know what? We can put that on last. No, let's do it now, so I can see where the arm, it may need adjusted. I may need to bend that arm a little bit. And I just soldered that on, you guys. I feel like that's moving around, and I don't want it to come apart. You know what I mean? That's an area that moves a lot. So I figured I'll solder those. I did on the other one too. Okay. Something else I did on this piece, like I said, I brought those chambers up and the inside tunnel. On this one, I opened up the groove and the hole where the springs went because they would, I had to like literally twist them in there. Now they just fit in there nice. So I cleaned that up. I think that's all I did to these. And let me show you this. Here's how the old ones were, where I had to stretch, and I'm sure I had to stretch at that much, and I'm sure it still was not good. As it kept working, it would smash it back down, you know what I mean? Okay, now these are a little tricky. I gotta like bend them inwards so it'll go in the slot in the back one because of the block on this linear rail. You gotta kind of do all of it at once. It's a little tricky, but it works. There we go. All right, now I gotta find my screws. Oh, that figures. What did I do with the one I used for that? I know it wouldn't need. Was it? Yep. I don't know if I'm there or not. Oh, I better be careful. I don't think I'm in it. I probably should have waited to put that switch on. Let me try another one. These holes are just what it's supposed to be. I didn't go any bigger. There we go. I didn't have it on there correct. Okay, good. I don't think that's it. Oh yeah, that was my old, the one I just had was my old bolt for the linear rail block. I took it out and I put something that stuck out longer to stop my block from going down. So it's kind of like a stopper now. That's how I got it to come up, you know, raise it up. Yeah, that one's even tighter. I probably should have just cleaned the hole out a little bit. That's okay. Man, I thought I had that up a little higher, that switch. It's right on it. Well, I'm gonna have to, let's see. What do I got here? I got nothing. See, that's not, there it goes. What's it hitting on? Boy, I got no adjustment with that. I'm already on my switch. Something's hitting down here, guys. Let me figure out what it is. I don't want to burn up this whole camera or this filming. Something's grabbing right there. Let me check and see, and I'll bring it right back. Okay, real quick, you guys, I wanted to show you where it was hitting. So where I raised that base up so for this all to clear, now that right here at the bottom there's a mark, you see it? And it's hitting that new thing I was just telling you about, the little stopper for this block. See how it stops it? It's out just a hair past that block, and now where I raised that, it's hitting a little bit. So I'm just going to file that down just a touch real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, I want you to see something here. So look at the torch, how it's sitting nice and flat right now. Look at the gap. This one's tight up here. Look at the gap between this one. You see it? I don't got it tight yet. That's exactly what I was talking about, the difference in the body. And so if I tighten that up now, it's going to suck it that way. Guess what? Remember how our arc was going? It was making the bevel go down that way. That's because the torch was getting sucked in and it was going like this towards the back. And I'll show you in a minute, but if I loosen this one up, we can turn this left to right a little bit if we need it to, but it's sitting nice and flat now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thinnest one I got here, probably this one, and we'll start there and see what it does. But it looks like that's probably going to be enough. That one or the next size up. I'm going to put one on each side and see if that thickness is going to be okay before I take these bolts back out. Give me a second. Okay, you guys, check this out. So I used the thinnest one on the bottom. I got that right on the slats, So let's go ahead and check it. 1435, 1432. We're within a couple thousands, you guys. Oh, there's 1432, 1430. So we're 1433. That's 1,000ths. That's pretty flat. Okay, let me put this plate over there and we'll check the side. I can't get that on the slat, so we're gonna have to do it that way. Let's try it on this side. Yeah, I don't know if I can get a reading. Let's see if we can get it to fit over here. Let me scoot that over a little bit. Okay, hope I'm not in you guys' way. Oh, let me get over here. All right. Trying to hit it in the same spot. 1590 or 1696, 1693, 1695. I go to the highest point. 1696. You guys, we're almost dead on with it. Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about. Parallel to the workpiece. Squares, we can get it to the workpiece, you know what I mean? So I'm going to try that. There's only one problem here that I don't like. This upper piece here, I'm going to have to rethink this because it's in a bind. It's in a bind right now. So if I just move it, on its own, it's like it's dragging. But if I hold this up, it's so much nicer. I mean, I can feel the nice tension on the spring. It's going up smooth. So I don't know. This has to be free. You can't, I don't know if that spring helped it or not. I don't think it did. Maybe I got to make like a, see, the problem is not the touch off. The problem is, see how much lead screw we have now? That was almost up against that block before. So we're gonna have to reset the settings, and I'll show you, we'll do that. I'll show you how I do that. So the problem is when we're moving the backing plate up and down. So when it's raising, going up and down to do the fire and the touch off and all that, because it raises up what I set it at, I can make it, my safe Z height is what the settings call it in there. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out here before we even get started. I don't know if like a little tunnel, like a little tube, you know what I'm saying? Like some kind of a little tube. Problem is how we're gonna get it around that hose and then up, you know what I mean, around this. Let me try to come up with something, you guys. Maybe a piece of PVC, maybe. Slit it down the center, wrap it around it, just so it's traveling inside of something straight up through there, you know what I mean? Because up here, I don't care, it could stay like that. Once we get past that point, it just, as long as it's got something to travel in. But I guess no matter what, you're gonna always have a bind somewhere where this hose, you know what I'm saying, where the top of it's gonna hit the edge of it. Let me play with that for a minute, and I'll come right back here shortly, and we'll try to get the adjustments in there, and I gotta get the lasers back on there, and we'll try to get our first fire off here. Give me a few, not first, but first with this setup. Okay, you guys, here's what I came up with. It's in the house printing right now. As you can see, it's just the hose will rest in here. We'll see how it works. And then this plate here, we'll drill a couple holes in that top plate over there and screw it down to it. And I may even just clamp it for now just to see how it works. But in theory, it should work. But that'll fit right down through that bracket I made, the outer part of it. And then the hose will come in here. So we'll see. Right now, let's go ahead and I'm going to load that. We're going to go ahead and set our, might have to go. I'm going to load that test piece so we can set our, here it is. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go into the manufacturer. So this, just so you guys know, a lot of people are doing these builds and they're using different programs with the Mach 3, I'm sorry. I don't know why I say even Mach 2. I think it's SheetCam is what they're using. But the post-processor file that I got, which I'll post in the video of the guy that gave it to me, and he'll give it to whoever. He gave it to me, and it is this one here, this custom Mach 3 Plasma G31, that's what it is. Now, it's set up for a THC and a floating head, and that's why I got it from him. I don't know, and I'm going to post this other boy's information on here too. I think his name is Brad. And so let's go over here. I'll show you how I'm going to do this. We gotta put on Mach 3, and let's cut it all on. Okay. So what we're going to do here is, let me see how fast I got it, and let me slow it down some. So I'm going to make it to where we can get it just down on that piece of metal there, and we'll zero it out. I'll show you. Okay, I'm going to bring that tip down slowly, just to where I don't see daylight anymore. Right What about there? Okay, now come over here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zero the Z. I'm gonna zero them all out just for the heck of it. Now I'm gonna go into, so right here are, that switch is gonna light up as soon as, I'm gonna start going down with it slowly. Let me slow it down even more. We'll take it down to 5%. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and move this down. It's over there moving right now. Right now. As soon as we see that light cut on, digitized light, right there, that means our switch is activated. So I'm gonna go back a couple times and do it. On, okay, right there. Now we'll go back to our main, so this number right here, 0.0819. So we're gonna go over here in the Fusion. Here's what it was before, if that shows you how low we had it. 0.0819, is that what it was? Whoops, I put a O. 0819. 0819. Okay, that's our new probe offset. The rest of these are fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and write this because the other stuff seemed to be okay. Why didn't it, what did it go as? Test 4. Okay, but why didn't it ask me to rewrite it? Let's see what it's got here. Test 4. Why didn't it ask me to rewrite it? Because I changed it. And everything else. I have it in artwork? No. Let me go see where this one was. Why am I not getting it? Still ain't picking it up. Should say test 4 right there. Post. Okay, there we go. Yes. I wanted to rewrite it. Okay. Load, test 4, open, and there it is. Okay, so let's go back over here. I'm gonna bring this back up. Let me speed it back up. Okay. I mean, look how much lead screw we have now. All right, let's go. We're gonna go ahead and just try this right now, guys, with what we have. I probably should wait, but I'm anxious. I'm so anxious. Hang on. I'm gonna pause that and go cut this machine and stuff on. Okay, let's cut our lasers on. Let's go ahead and see if we got this straight enough. So I'm watching this line right here to make sure that doesn't need churn. Yeah, see it? It's walking. Okay, that should be good. Let's check it this way real quick. Yep, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna zero it right there. All right, guys, let's try it. Fingers crossed. We'll go down and click off right there. I mean, that went right out. Let that cut off. Okay. That thing fell right out, which means it's cutting it good. Usually when your pieces fall right out, it means you got your settings pretty good. Yeah, this end here had a little bit more dross. And guys, our hole is much cleaner, much less beveled. So we still have some adjustment is gonna be in our cut height now. Hang on. Yeah, this stuff's coming right off. So we got we got it at a good amperage. Okay, this one looks so much nicer, you guys. I mean, I don't even know if it is. Maybe just a tiny bit. And it's up over in the, I hope you guys can see that. They're way cleaner, way nicer. So we got that good. So I think now there's a little test chart or a little cheat chart that they give you. And it tells you to either drop the head down some more, which I think that's the problem because it'll give us less dross too. And it looks like this is cleaner up top. The cut is not as clean on the bottom as far as, so that means the torch is up too high. So I'm gonna drop the cut height and we're gonna bring that down and put it here and see what that changes. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to probably change the battery in the camera after this one, you guys. So I dropped it down just so it was 0.10. I put it to 0.08 and I went ahead and also dropped the pierce height by 1 click. It was at 0.13, now it's at 0.12. Let's try this out. It's cutting it nice, you guys. We're not far off. I mean, for a fresh new machine that was built, never knowing or doing any of this stuff before, I think we're doing really good. Sorry guys, the phone rang, but I went ahead and cleaned it up. Okay, so to me, I think maybe the first one was better in some areas. I think it was, you guys. I think I made it worse. So we need to go up a little bit. Let me find this chart, this test chart, and then I'm gonna change the battery in the camera, and so I can see which way I'm going here. And this may be an adjustment in that torch height controller, because I messed with it a bunch before I realized I was having an issue here. So let me pull up that chart, get the battery changed, and we'll go from there. Give me a few. Okay, I got it all printed out, you guys. It worked out good. Let me show you this. Let's pull it off of here. Pretty cool, actually. Bolts up from underneath. I'll probably make this to fit that whole thing. I'm gonna redo that. I just wanted to see if it worked, and then I got to figure out a way to. I may put that back on just to see the spring, because it may slide through there even better. It may not grip it. Sorry, you guys. The battery went dead. Anyways, I was saying, it printed out super nice. I'm going to put the coil back on it and try to see. I think it'll slide through a little bit better. But it worked out great. I played some more with them numbers. With the, I wanted to show you this side of it. It printed out pretty nice. So, let me show you these real quick. So I played some more with the numbers. The torch height controller I played with, and it actually helped it too. So this is the one, this is the back side. I wanted to clean it so we could see it better. Here's the newest one. I mean, you could see it's way nicer. I wanted to clean the stuff out around it. This is the back side of it. And this is the last one we did before that. You can see how still goofy it looked. The front side looks great on both of them. And everything else looks great. Really great. The edge cuts, all of it. Compared to, here's our old one, or the very first. These are all by this is probably when we first fired it up. But you can see, these ain't very, very off, you guys. I'm just gonna adjust on this thing till I get it perfect, or close to perfect. These are all the back sides. Like I said, the front sides are all great on them, on every one of them. There's the worst one. That was when we first started. How it was still oblong. That's probably before we straightened the torch out. And that was real bad. Look how ovalish that was. But we're getting it. It's looking good. Okay. I got to order some more of that carbon fiber filament, because I'm just about out of it. But I'm going to reprint all this again. I want to change this here where the switch hits. I want to make that a little more comfortable for it. There was something else. I need to drop that housing back down a little bit so the spring, it was a little sloppy, so to keep it nice and tight, I need to close that up some more. A couple small things. I just want to, and instead of using the shim, I'm going to measure what that thickness needs to be, what the shim that we have in it, and print that to that height. So it's printed. So there's not that ain't solid using that shim, because it's working great. It probably won't need anything, to tell you the truth. That thing works like a champ. This all works like a champ. I don't see this having no problems. Okay, that's it for the day, guys. It's late today. We got it working. Couple adjustments here and there. Like I said, the last thing I did before I come back just now, I messed with this torch height controller. It's down here, which I already showed you guys. But what you do is when it's cutting, you either go up or down on the voltage. Right now, when I first started cutting, it was at like 135, 134-ish. And right now I got it to like 122 to 125. And it's not night and day from where it was, but very, very, you could see a difference. So as long as we keep seeing changes and differences, we're going in the right direction. That's with anything you do. You know what I mean? On a race car, you adjust on it, you want to go faster. So this is the same type of thing. But all right, you guys, I wanted to just touch base with you on that, and we'll be back out here tomorrow. All right, you guys. So I pretty much got this thing dialed in pretty good. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's really, really good. I'm going to show you here in a minute. I've been working on a little short roll around stool for the shop in the Fusion 360, and I cut it out yesterday on here, and it did phenomenal. I put a little bit of this grease I got. It's like a silicone type grease on the gear rack and the gears. I didn't want to do that because we're going to be painting it, but I just wanted to see how smooth it was with it, and it was, what a difference. A couple things we're going to change on the head when I put it back together. I'm going to reprint some stuff. I changed some things again. but I'll explain all that when we're doing it. But that's going to work out pretty good. It works great. Our only problem is up here in this new, where this is curved here, it's still wanting to just slightly catch a little. So I'm going to try it with this coil spring and see if it moves in there easier. If not, we're going to figure out something else for that. So it's the only problem I had with it is one time when it was going down to pierce, it pierced up a little high and then it fell. You could see it. So it was actually sticking a little, and then it let loose and went right down to where it needed to be at. So it wasn't nothing big deal, but I don't want that, keep dealing with that, you know what I mean? So anyhow, I'm going to show you that thing I did, and then I'm going to start draining this thing down and getting it tore apart, and then I'm going to end this video here. Let me show you that real quick. So it turned out great, and look at the circles, guys. I mean, and the little curvy things I built there, everything is smooth. I went over it real quick. I think I got my settings pretty good as far as on the THC and in the programming, where it's working pretty good. It's working at least as good as the other table, maybe better. But that little stool turned out pretty cool. Just, it cut it, no problem at all. Yeah, it's the same one that Viper has. I just, did the same thing as we did on that chair there. I just kind of looked at the picture, made my own measurements, made my own little designs in there, and that's about it. And then I had some old, I don't even know what that is, gator or snakeskin or something laying around. I used to do these old horse trailers for Congress. They had sleepers in them, and these things, when they was done, they was better than my house inside, dude. They were so killer. But I just threw that together real quick. It's got a little old pad that I had in it, and but anyhow, and it, buddy, let me tell you, that thing rolls around the shop so nice. It will go over anything. It will. That's a cool little stool. I'm gonna probably do one more of those, maybe two, so I can have one in front of each sewing machine, and then another one out here in this shop, and then we'll take them apart and powder coat them one day. But maybe I'll do a video when we're doing the other two. And we'll do that. I'll show you how maybe we'll make a video on making them other two. But yeah, guys, that bad boy is working great. I'm so excited about it, and I can't wait to put it in its final home over there, where it's going to be at, and put this thing to some serious use. Hang on one second. All right, guys, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for the new subscribers. Anything you guys are doing for me. This channel is growing, but it's growing slow. I wish it would go a little bit faster. The last video is up over almost 13,000 views. That's pretty killer. Hopefully these go much higher. I want people to see this and everything about it and the things I went through, and maybe people get inspired to try it for themselves. This is what the whole channel is about, guys. The honesty. I want to show you guys everything, and hopefully I inspire you guys to do some of these things or whatever, or just some just like to watch, whatever it is. But I really appreciate you guys. Like I said before, I think it was in this video, yeah, or in the last one, I think. It might be in this one. You guys ain't seen it yet. I don't know what I'm talking about. If you guys are interested in me building you one of these, go to my profile up my profile and send me an email, and we'll talk about it. Maybe we can come up with something. And for those of you that don't want to spend $30,000 and $40,000 on a big table, and you want something big for your shop, you can save a bunch of money here. Or if you're interested in doing it, we got any questions, just jot them, and I'll help you every way I can through it. So thanks again, guys. Sorry about this video being a little longer, guys. I told you before, it takes forever to edit it, especially when I'm trying to load it on the YouTube. But it just happened. We was going through all the stuff I was showing you, and it is what it is. But thanks again, guys. I'll see you on the next one.